Gilberto Mora, 0-0. What if I told you that the youngest player at the 2026 World Cup is only 17 years old, and he's already rewriting history? Meet Gilberto Mora, born on October 14, 2008, in Tuxtla Gutierrez, Mexico. Yes, 2008. While most kids his age were worried about school exams, Mora was breaking records in professional football. At just 15 years old, he became the youngest goal scorer in Liga MX history. By 16, he debuted for Mexico's senior national team, the youngest player ever to do so. And then came the 2025 Gold Cup, where he started 3 knockout matches and helped Mexico lift the trophy, making him younger than even Pelé and Lamine Yamal when they won their first senior trophies. At this World Cup, Mora shattered a 96-year-old record, becoming the youngest Mexican player ever to appear at a FIFA World Cup. And when he finally got his first start, against Czech Republic, he didn't disappoint. His vision, his passing, his football intelligence, the entire soccer world stopped and took notice. Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Manchester City, they're all watching. But for now, Mora is focused on one thing only: taking Mexico further than ever before at a World Cup on home soil. They call him Morita, Little Mora, but there is nothing small about his ambition. This kid doesn't just play football. He reads books on team buses, speaks fluent English at 17, and studies the game like a chess grandmaster. The future of Mexican football has a Desiree Doué, 225-000. 2 goals, 1 Champions League final, age 19. That is the moment the world realized Desiree Doué is not just a talented kid, he is the real deal, 0-10. Born on June 3, 2005 in Angers, France, Doué grew up surrounded by football. His brother Gela is a professional, his cousins, also professionals. Football wasn't just a hobby in this family, it was a way of life. But even in a family full of players, Desiree stood out from day one, 0-28. He joined the Rennes Academy at just 5 years old. By 17, he was already playing in Ligue 1. By 18, he was one of the most talked about teenagers in European football. Clubs across the continent were watching, but it was Paris Saint-Germain who moved first, signing him for 50 million euros in the summer of 2024, 0-50. And what happened next? He didn't just adapt, he dominated. In his very first season at PSG, Doué helped the club win the Champions League, Ligue 1, and the Coupe de France, a historic treble. And in the Champions League final against Inter Milan, he scored twice and was named Man of the Match. At 19 years old, he became the first teenager in history to score a brace in a Champions League final. Let that sink in, 1-18. The following season, he did it again. Back-to-back Champions League titles with PSG, back-to-back Ligue 1 Young Player of the Year awards. 29 goals in 102 appearances for the club. He also won the prestigious Golden Boy Award, given every Nico Paz, 230-0-0. What does it take to be called the next Lionel Messi? For most players, that label would be too heavy to carry. For Nico Paz, it just feels right. 0-10. Nicolás Paz Martínez was born on September 8, 2004, in Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Spain. But don't let that fool you. His heart has always belonged to Argentina. His father, Pablo Paz, played for Argentina at the 1998 World Cup. Football runs through his DNA. 0-26. At just 12 years old, Nico joined the famous Real Madrid Academy, La Fábrica. He spent years developing in one of the most demanding football environments in the world, training every day in the same facilities as Benzema, Modric, and Vinicius. That's where his technical brilliance was sharpened into something truly special. 0-46. In 2023, he made his Champions League debut for Real Madrid, coming on as a substitute in a group stage match. Still a teenager. Then came the move that changed everything. In the summer of 2024, he signed for newly promoted Serie A club Como, under the management of none other than Cesc Fabregas. And in Italy, Nico Paz absolutely exploded. 108. 12 goals and 6 assists in Serie A. Named Best Under-23 Player of the entire season. Included in the Serie A Team of the Season. At Como, a club that had just returned to the top flight, he was the best player on the pitch week after week. Tottenham offered 50 million euros. Como said no. 128. Angel Di Maria watched him and said, "His time at Como has done him the world of good. He's full of confidence and looks even better than last season." Francesco Totti, one of the greatest players in Italian football history, said he has what it takes to become one of the best players in the world. 148. And now, the 2026 World Cup with Argentina, the defending champions. The team of Messi, Lautaro, Alvarez, and De Paul. Nico Paz made history just by being selected, becoming the first player in Argentina's history to appear at a World Cup without ever having played club football in the country. 208. He made his World Cup debut against Algeria, coming on as a substitute, replacing Lionel Messi himself. Think about that for a second. A 21-year-old kid replacing the greatest player of all time on the biggest stage in football. Yan Diomande, 000. From a high school field in Florida to the biggest football tournament on the planet. The story of Yan Diomande is one of the most extraordinary journeys in world football right now. Born on November 14, 2006 in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, Diomande moved to the United States at just 15 years old. Alone. New country, new language, new culture. He joined DME Academy in Florida, a school known for developing football talent, and immediately stood out. In 2023, he was named Player of the Year. Scouts from across Europe began paying attention. He went on trial at Rangers in Scotland, then signed for Leganés in Spain. Played just 10 games. But those 10 games were enough for RB Leipzig, one of the most respected clubs in Germany, to pay 20 million euros for a teenager who had barely played professional football. And what did Diomande do in his first full Bundesliga season? 12 goals, 8 assists, 33 appearances. He became the fourth youngest player in Bundesliga history to score 10 or more goals in a single season. Leipzig qualified for the Champions League, and Diomande was one of the main reasons why. His coach described him simply: dynamic, explosive, and with the attitude of a winner. Liverpool offered close to 100 million euros. PSG joined the race. Leipzig said no to everyone, because right now, Yan Diomande has one focus only: the 2026 World Cup with Ivory Coast. And he has already delivered. In the opening match against Ecuador, he was named Man of the Match. He created 5 chances, more than any other player at that point in the tournament. His carry distance, his progressive runs, his explosiveness, the stats were off the charts for a 19-year-old. He also became the youngest player ever to appear for Ivory Coast at a World Cup. His coach said after the game, "I can't put into words what this kid gives us. He works hard, he listens, he laughs with everyone, and then he goes out and destroys defenders." From the streets of Abidjan to Florida, from Florida to Spain, from Spain to Ayoub Bouadi, 330-00. Picture this: your very first match for your country, your very first appearance at a World Cup, and your opponent? Brazil, 5-time world champions. Casemiro in midfield, Vinicius on the wing, 80,000 fans in the stadium. And you are 18 years old. Most players would freeze. Ayoub Bouadi took control. 022. Born on October 2, 2007 in Senlis, France, Bouadi grew up not in Morocco, but in the suburbs of Paris. His parents are Moroccan, and football was always part of his life. At just 13 years old, he joined the famous Lille Academy, one of the best youth development programs in all of French football. The same academy that produced Nicolas Pepe, Renato Sanchez, and countless others. 048. From his very first days at Lille, coaches knew they had something different. Not just technically, but mentally. A teenager who studied mathematics at school and approached football the same way, with logic, with calmness, with an instinct for the right solution every single time. 105. At just 16 years and 3 days old, Bouhaddi made his senior debut for Lille in the UEFA Europa Conference League. He became the youngest player in the club's history to appear in a professional match, and then the youngest player to reach 50 appearances in League One. Records kept falling, and every time he played, analysts and coaches across Europe took notice. 128. France wanted him. He had played for France at under-21 level, 10 caps. Didier Deschamps watched him closely. But Bouhaddi made a decision that surprised everyone. He chose Morocco. His roots, his heritage, his people. And Morocco welcomed him with open arms. 148. In May 2026, he was named in Morocco's World Cup squad, just weeks after officially switching his international allegiance. And in his very first senior cap, against Brazil, he delivered one of the most extraordinary debut performances this tournament has ever seen. 205. The numbers were staggering. 87 touches, more than any other Moroccan player. 91% passing accuracy. 100% completion rate in the final third. 16 passes out of 16. 6 recoveries. 5 interceptions. 9 duels won. He neutralized Casemiro so completely that Brazil's most experienced midfielder was substituted at halftime. 232. One moment summed it all up. In the 87th minute, deep into a tense World Cup match against Brazil, Bouhaddi received a pass, stopped, took a moment to applaud his teammate for the quality of the pass, and then glided forward with the ball. Calm, audacious, completely in control. The whole world watching, and he looked like he belonged there more than anyone. 252. ESPN's Ed Dove wrote, Morocco already knew that a special talent was arriving in their squad, but in their World Cup opener, the rest of the planet saw it too. Arsenal and Chelsea have already made contact. Lille are expecting bids above 100 million euros, and Morocco's coach said simply, it was not a risk to play him. I only look at performance, not age. 315. He is 18 years old. He studies mathematics. He plays football like a grandmaster plays chess. Ayoub Bouhaddi is not the future of Moroccan football. He is the present. 330.